It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Party Chat Sports. I'm your host today, Drew Nelson. And you know what happens when I get on here solo. That means we're going to be talking some Dallas Cowboys. So as we're in draft season, we're going to be doing a mock draft for the Cowboys. Go check out our other videos. We've done a couple mock drafts for the full first round where we alternate picks. So had some interesting results in both of those. Go check those out. We also have a Jets and a Steelers mock draft up on the feed, so if you're interested in those, go check those out as well. But today we will be doing the Dallas Cowboys, and this is an interesting one. The last time I was on here, it was a disaster in Dallas video. Last time I was on here solo, I believe. So a lot of things have happened since then. Actually, a lot of things have happened since then for other teams. Not a lot has happened for the Cowboys, and that's why this draft is interesting. We essentially have to hit on, and obviously every team wants and is trying to hit on all their picks. But if the Cowboys don't hit on at least 2 or 3 of their draft picks and get quality starters, we could be in trouble. Just because of our inactivity in free agency. It's not like the Joneses have showed the will to make trades or make big, free agency signings. So I don't see any other help coming other than through the draft. So we need to hit. We need to hit on a few of these players, and I'm actually gonna do 2 versions of this. I'm gonna do one 7-round mock draft where I'm going to do what I would do, and I'm going to use the ESPN mock draft simulator for that one. I'm going to choose what I would pick if I was the Cowboys in their position, and then we're going to pop over to PFF, and I'm going to do what I think they will do, based on historical kind of memories of previous draft picks, and information that we get from accounts on Twitter who have either insider knowledge or just very, very in-depth with the sport and know kind of where the Cowboys stand. So we're going to do 2 versions, starting off with what I would do in the full 7 rounds. We'll get that started right here, right now. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the next one will be 3 rounds of what I think the Cowboys will do. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I mentioned, we're using the ESPN mock draft simulator. I believe Dylan used this one in his Steelers mock draft. I've actually never used this one before. But let's go ahead and get started. Let me make my screen full screen for myself. Okay, start draft. Here we go. And we can pop through some of these. So our pick is up. We can pop through some of these here today. So Caleb Williams, Drake May to the Commanders. Caleb Williams is so obvious. I mean, almost every time you do one of these, it already pretty much auto-populates in here. There's very few times where this ever changes. So Drake May cut to the Commanders. Based on and Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Patriots. I believe when Dylan did his, they also the Patriots picked Marvin Harrison, and that's what give you a little insider tip to our last mock draft. But that's what I had the Patriots picking too. I think they can't afford to pass him up based on the quarterbacks that are going to be there. So Jaden Daniels to the Giants is interesting. And they moved up. I didn't know this was going to simulate trades unless something happened recently and I didn't know. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Neighbors to the Chargers. Cardinals are back here at 6 and go Joe Alt. That's okay. I think they would go Odunze here. with him still being available, but that's okay. Titans go Odunze. Jared Verse to the Falcons. That's okay. Dallas Turner to the Bears. That's what I picked in their in our mock draft. So I'm 2 for 2 right now on my top 10 picks. Let's see here. Bowers to the Jets. Yep. Quinyon Mitchell to the Vikings. Okay. With JJ McCarthy still on the board? Unlikely. Broncos getting JJ and didn't have to move. That's interesting. Let's see here. Anything else standing out? Tackle. Byron Murphy to the Jags. That's not bad, actually, because, they've already got Josh Allen, and they just signed Eric Armstead, I believe. So just make a strength a strength. That's interesting. Latu to the Bengals. I don't love it, but it's fine. Grant Barton to the Rams. Mims to the Steelers. Okay. So that's one of our options gone. Same with Grant Barton. Let's see here. Okay. Brian Thomas Jr. to the Eagles. Don't love that. But let's go ahead and make our pick. Let's see if we can. Here we go. Make pick. Who's available? Jerzon Newton would be interesting. Cooper DeJean, no thank you. Chop Robinson, no thank you. And we'll get to this guy right here later. Because he's a very Cowboys pick. At least based on what we did last year with Tyler Smith. So we'll get to that later. I personally do not want to pick him. That's not what I would do. But it's a very, very Cowboys pick. And really we're kind of in a tough spot here. We're actually in a very tough spot because I like to go offensive line because we need offensive line so bad. But there's really no one left. I mean, other than Tyler Guyton, which if this is exactly how the board fell, I wouldn't blame them for picking Guyton. But if there's other tackles left like Mims or Barton or Jackson Powers-Johnson, which I didn't see him go. Is he still here? Let's see here. Okay, he's still available, actually. Wow, he's ranked 57th? Wow. And I know a lot of people recently have liked Zach Frazier over Jackson Powers-Johnson, so I think it's just take your pick. You probably can't go wrong at either one. Or we could go A.D. Mitchell. The only problem with A.D. Mitchell is he feels like, and I could be completely wrong on this, but he feels like he has a very similar skill set to CeeDee Lamb, and so do you kind of want two of the same or similar receivers? I'm not sure. Either way, we need another receiver with Gallup leaving and Cooks being older. So it wouldn't be bad to go wide receiver here. I don't think Xavier Legette's not going in the first round. A.D. Mitchell is probably, let's see who else is left. Xavier Worthy, someone might reach on in the first round. But man, who are we going to pick? I think we have to go center. And the problem with what the Cowboys did is they set themselves up to where you have to draft for need almost, because we have two huge, missing holes on the offensive line. We don't have a left tackle. We don't have a center. And so the only way to correct those issues is either in the draft, through free agency, or a trade. It's likely that no one's trading a starting caliber left tackle, and all of the free agency moves have been done and made. Everyone else that's left, is kind of just either old or injured or not good. So that's why I was disappointed to see them not take much action in the free agency market, because, like I said, it sets you up to where you have to start drafting for need and not best player available. And I think I'm gonna go Jackson Powers-Johnson here. I really like him, and like I said, we need a center. He's, a lot of the times he's considered the best center in the class. Some people say he's the second best center. But with that being said, normally how it plays out in other mocks that I've done is normally there's tackle and center available. I like to go tackle in the first because there's some pretty good centers throughout this draft in the later rounds. You can have maybe a Van Pran in the second. Excuse me, who's the other one I was just talking about? Let's see, what's his name from West Virginia? just talking about him. Let me find his name. Cedric Van Pran is later, probably in the third, out of Georgia. Where was the guy I was just talking about? Let's see here. I imagine he got picked by now. Maybe not. Let's go look. Zach Frazier. So, Frazier, you could probably be having the... He's pretty low ranking on ESPN. I haven't seen him this low. But Frazier, you can probably have in the second, or as third if it falls like ESPN's saying it will. But Cedric Van Pran is who I was talking about at Georgia. You can have him later. And there's one I've been keeping my eye on. Let's see, he's down here a little ways. Where is he at? Is he not even on their list? He's out of Wisconsin. His name is Tanner Bordellini, I believe, who can probably be... Oh, here he is. Oh, he's over Van Pran. That's interesting. Usually he's after. Anyways, there's good centers to be had later in the draft, so that's why I normally like to go tackle in the first round. But the way this one fell, we're going to have to go center, and I hate to say have to, but Cowboys put themselves in a position where you have to make these picks, and the picks you make have to work out. So they really have to be smart about this, but we'll get to what I think they're going to do later. This is what I would do, just the way this board is falling. Let's see who our second round pick is going to be. So best player available right now is Zach Frazier, actually, ironically. No, actually, I think we're still... Let's get it to switch. It's not switching. There we go. Never mind. Jonathan Brooks. I've seen a lot of people want to take him here in the second round because he's probably not going to fall to our third round pick. He's probably not going to fall that far. He's good. The only thing, holding him back is injury. Coming off an ACL, I believe. So I've seen a lot. And again, running back, huge need. Letting Tony Pollard walk, who probably could have taken a pretty team-friendly deal based on what he was saying going into free agency. So that is a need. That could be an option. Junior Colson could be a good pick. The problem with Junior Colson, and especially if you're a Cowboys fan, is he's a Michigan player. And unfortunately, our last couple Michigan players have not worked out. Let's take it easy on Mozzie. Only had 1 year. Usually defensive tackles take a little bit to kind of figure it out, so we'll take it easy on him. And for whatever reason, he lost a bunch of weight and kind of was playing differently than what he was playing in Michigan. So we'll give him a pass. Let's give him a pass. Other Michigan player, notable one is Taco Charlton, of course. Yes, that was a miss. That was a bust, especially with TJ Watt on the board. Besides the point. You can't scout the helmet. You have to scout the player. And the Cowboys really need linebacker. We really need linebacker. We had safeties playing linebacker last year. And Van Der Esch had to retire, unfortunately. So we really, we have Eric Kendricks and we have Overshown, who is coming off a torn ACL and hasn't played a snap other than, I think, preseason maybe, or did he get hurt in training camp? Either way. He's basically still a rookie and coming off a major injury. So is he going to be as, versatile and athletic as he would have been if he didn't get injured last year? We'll never know. So he could be a great, linebacker for us. He could not work out. So I don't like going running back this high. So I think we're going to go Junior Colson. And like I said, we gotta scout the player, not the helmet. And another guy I like, usually in this area is Edgerrin Cooper. If you listen to our mock draft, I believe it was, or maybe it was our favorite players video, I talk about how some players have Hall of Fame names, and Edgerrin Cooper might be one of them. But we're gonna take. Let's go back here and just take a look at how this is kind of falling. And Edgerrin Cooper went to the Panthers anyways. He wasn't available. Xavier Worthy to the Commanders. Ooh, that's crazy. Anything else standing out? Penix to the Saints. I don't think he probably doesn't end up falling this far, but that is interesting. Let's see. Keon Coleman to the Dolphins. I like Junior Colson there. It could be, it might be a good position to take a wide receiver since we need one of those as well. But Junior Colson is the pick. I think he's a good player. He's going to help in our run game, which has been a problem for the Cowboys for many, many years now. We drafted Mozzie to try to help correct that. I think this year, hopefully, he puts on some weight and takes another step forward. So hopefully we have that big body in the middle. But part of that is we need linebackers. You know, we have Mozzie plugging up holes and taking on extra blockers. Well, we need to have a linebacker who's ready to stick their nose and get to the ball carrier. You know, if Mozzie's not going to be able to take on blocks and fill up holes and also make the tackle. You know, defensive tackles don't get a ton of tackles. They don't get a ton of sacks. They don't get all these stats, but they're very important for getting blockers off the linebackers. And even if Mozzie was doing great last year and doing his job, we didn't have the linebackers to finish the job. And so Junior Colson will give that, hoping that Mozzie can take a step forward in his game. So that'll be good pairing. Bringing back the Michigan boys as well. They can play together. Trey Benson to the Browns right before our pick. That's unfortunate. I think a lot of people really like him for running back, and I don't mind going running back in the third. So let's see what our options are here. Blake Corum didn't look as great as he was before coming off the ACL, but still a pretty explosive, pretty shifty player. Great vision. Brendan Rice. You get a little Jerry Rice action on the Cowboys. Wouldn't that be something? Sanders still. That's surprising that he's down here. I think normally he's up pretty high. Trotter is another good linebacker. Who else could we go with? Zach Zinter could be a good option. It would really be a good option if we move Tyler Smith to tackle and then we need a guard instead of needing a tackle. But I like Tyler Smith at guard. He was all-pro at guard. He played pretty well at tackle, but he was an all-pro type player at guard. So let's go back up here. Who are we going to take? This is such a weird way this board has fallen. I've never done this one before, so this is all kind of new for me. It would be interesting to take Brendan Rice. And actually I think it was Brendan Rice. I saw a chart where it showed like college wide receivers in this draft class compared to wide receivers from previous draft classes. And there was on the chart, you know, kind of goes up like this. Normally there's a line going this way. Well, I don't know. That might be reversed in the camera, but you get the idea. And up in one of the top left corners, if you're looking, you know, directly at the chart, is an area where it's low targets and receptions, I believe. But so that would be the x-axis, but on the y-axis it's production, I believe, or yards or something like that. And Brendan Rice was up in the top left where he didn't get a lot of action, but when he did, he was very productive. Up in the range of, I think the only one I can remember was Terry McLaurin out of Ohio State, playing for the Commanders. Scary Terry was kind of in the same range where he didn't get all the targets, he didn't get all the receptions, but when he did get them, you know, he did a lot with them. So I'd be tempted, and you know what? Let's do it. I don't love anyone else that's here. So let's do something. Let's do something fun. Let's get Brendan Rice. We need a wide receiver. Corum might be a good pick. We need running back, but I don't love it. Especially coming off the ACL. We can probably find something later in the draft. Let's go ahead and get Brendan Rice. And let's see who's available for our next pick. Don't have a fourth round. Traded that for Trey Lance. So here we are in the fifth. Wow. A lot of dudes are gone. Luke McCaffrey. Cedric Van Pran. See, this is what I'm talking about. Van Pran can probably be had later in the draft. And if we would have had a better option in the first, I'd probably go him right here. We are down here a ways. Who is even left? Cornelius Johnson out of Michigan. Let's take a look at what running backs are left, if there are any. Let's see here. Running back. Rasheed Ali, Edric Ostame, think that's how you pronounce the last one. Guys that can probably be had a little bit later, maybe. That's probably who I'm looking at, especially Estime. Oh, do I want to take him now? We're at pick 174, and he's projected 204. We can probably wait another round and try to take one of those guys. What kind of defensive tackles are we looking at? Okay. Let's see what else. Defensive ends. You can never have too many defensive ends. Let's take a look at corners. Could need corner, especially if we don't bring back Gilmore, which is looking likely. Let's see what else is out there. We grabbed the linebacker. That's outside linebacker, but not a great selection of tackles. I don't necessarily know any of these guys. Be dumb to go wide receiver again, but let's take a look. Let's take a look at quarterback just for fun. Wow. Kind of inside linebackers. Okay. We're kind of in a sticky spot. But I think we're going to go Jordan Jefferson out of LSU. Can't say I know too much about him. I think I see him floating around out there as one of these later guys. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think he's a big body guy. And that's what we need. We need big bodies. And if Mozzie doesn't work out, let's try to get some more people in there and hope one of them works. So here we are in the 6th round. Dude, it almost might even be worth it to just go Van Pran and just, maybe Powers Johnson can play guard, Van Pran can play center, and then Tyler Smith can play tackle. Or I don't know if Van Pran has played guard before. Could be time to go running back, actually. So let's see. Okay, both guys I talked about last time are still here. Rashina Lee and Estime. We're going to do something risky. We're going to go Van Pran, and we're going to hope one of those guys is still there with our next pick. We're going to go Van Pran. We're going to do the plan that I mentioned earlier, and then we're going to hope one of those running backs is still there. Let's go look. Where are we at? Pick 233. Estime, still there. Boom. Lock it in. I don't know that he's going to fall that far. I think a lot of people are high on him. And we got 2 7ths. What do we got 2 7ths for? All right, let's see here. Why'd this guy fall so far? Got to be wary of these guys that fall way past where they should be going. Man, I don't know any of these guys. Steel Chambers. I'm good. Let's see here. Just keep scrolling forever. I mean, most of these guys if there's someone you love, grab them. If not, you can probably have them in, you can try to get them in undrafted, free agency. So let's just take a shot on a guy who was ranked higher than the pick we're at. And I don't know who this is. I don't know if there's any injuries or off the field issues going on that may make him fall this far, but we'll take a shot. Can't hurt. We're in the 7th round and our second pick of the 7th round. So, all right, let's look. We went Jackson Powers Johnson the 1st. That takes care of our center need or possibly guard, as we mentioned earlier. Let's say for the purposes of our draft, we're going to go Van Pran at center, Jackson Powers Johnson at left guard, and Tyler Smith at left tackle. Like I said, I think tackle is probably the better choice in the 1st round if it's available, but it just didn't fall that way for us. Could have gone Guyton, but I don't love Guyton, so that's the way we went. Junior Colson should really shore up our run game, which has been killing us for years and years. So get that stronger, get a linebacker, a true linebacker, and go from there and see what happens. Brendan Rice, mentioned it before, not a ton of production based on the targets and receptions, but when he did get targets, he did produce. We needed a wide receiver. There wasn't anything that great there either, any other options. So I do like it. I'm sure 49ers fans will hate having the son of Jerry Rice on the Cowboys, but oh well, get over it. Jordan Jefferson, like I mentioned, I don't know too much about him, but we need some defensive tackles if Mozzie doesn't work out. Still hoping he gets better, but the more bodies you have, the better. And they're big guys. They need to rotate out. They can't be on the field all game long. So Van Pran, so he fell pretty far, and I mentioned we're going to put him at center. Maybe he can play guard too. I'm not sure, but we're going to put him at center. Powers Johnson at guard, Tyler Smith at tackle. Estime, who was pretty good on Notre Dame. I'm surprised he fell this far. He probably won't fall this far in the real draft, but I would like to have him. He has some power, and he has some explosive runs. He's not blowing the doors off people with speed, but he had a lot of long runs, more than you would think from a back of his build. So, and really kind of what we've been missing, even when we had Tony Pollard, was a guy that could punch it in, whether it's for a first down or a touchdown. And a lot of people bring up the Tony Pollard play against the Dolphins where it was him and one defender, and he was at like the 4-yard line or something like that, and he didn't score. Like, you got to be able to punch that in. I think Estime brings that to the team where he's going to get it. He's going to get that touchdown. He's going to get that extra yard. And then, like I mentioned earlier, our second 7th round pick, not a huge deal. We drafted a guy I don't know anything about. Not sure why he fell that far, but his ranking was much higher than the pick, so we'll take a shot on him. And that's what I would do, at least in this draft. It fell kind of weird, a lot weirder than it normally falls in the PFF simulator and other simulators I've used. And so let's go ahead and switch over to we're going to switch over to PFF now, and we're going to do what I think the Cowboys will do. So let me get that up for you guys. I think you can see this now. Yep. So let's go ahead. We're going to do 3 rounds for the Cowboys. Let's get started. I'm sure, yep, Caleb Williams. This one won Jaden Daniels at 2. Let's just go look at what the PFF did. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy to the Patriots. Wow. Marvin Harrison to the Cardinals, Neighbors. Drake May to the Giants. I can see that. Dunze fell in the same spot as our last draft. Dallas Turner again to the Bears. Okay. Latham to the Jets. Quinyon Mitchell again to the Vikings, which if all quarterbacks are gone, I could see that. Brock Bowers comes down here to the Saints. Brian Thomas goes pretty high. I think I gave the Colts Brian Thomas Jr. in our mock draft. I must have killed it. Go check that out and see how I did. Graham Barton to the Bengals. I do like that, actually. I do like that. Chop on the Eagles. I don't love that. Terrion Arnold to the Steelers. Okay, Cooper. They went double corner in the first round. The Vikings. That's interesting. All right, Cowboys. And here, perfect place. This is where I want to be. And well, actually, I forgot. This is not what I want. And recently, I saw a post, whether it has credibility or not, that the Cowboys are not really interested in Amarius Mims, probably for 2 reasons, if I had to guess. One, I believe he has a little bit of injury history. And second, he's a right tackle. We already kind of gave a big contract to Terrence Steele, who is also a right tackle. And so we would have to have one of those guys flip over to the left side, which can be difficult. It's not as easy as you think. You got to relearn your footwork and your responsibilities. And it seems easy. It seems like an easy thing to do. Maybe it's a little bit easier at guard, I'm sure, but at tackle, it can be very difficult. And so it could be a risky pick. And I don't see the Cowboys going to Amarius Mims here. They could go Powers Johnson again very easily. And like I mentioned, I would go tackle. But if the board falls this way, as much as I would hate it, I can see them going Tyler Guyton. he's kind of a Tyler Smith-esque player where he shows flashes and he has some of the tools to be a good player. Didn't quite put it all together at Oklahoma, but he can probably play left tackle where we need him to be. And again, I would go Mims. Mims is built like Tyron Smith. Mims is built like our legendary tackle who we just let walk away in free agency. So I would like to go Mims. I think Mims played a little bit better, but I could really see the Cowboys picking Tyler Guyton. That's what we're going to do. Like I said, this is not what I would do. This is what I think they're going to do. And the saving grace in them picking Tyler Guyton is the Cowboys have been really good at drafting linemen and really good with the first round pick just in general in the last 10 or so years. I believe, I forget the exact time frame, it's something like 10 years or so where all of our first round picks except for 2 have been all pros at some point in their career. So really have been hitting really well with their first round picks. The only 2 that haven't are Taco and Mozzie. Obviously, Mozzie was just a rookie, so can't really expect him to be an all pro just yet. So that's a really good hit rate. And I hated the Tyler Smith pick at the time. I thought we reached for him. I was worried about him being too aggressive. He had a lot of holding issues, but he turned into a really good player. And even when he was playing left tackle, he was really good as a rookie. So I unfortunately trust the Cowboys in this aspect. I trust them to pick a good first round pick. They've been doing it over and over again the last few years. So I think they'll pick Tyler Guyton, and as much as I don't want it to happen, I have to have a little bit of faith because they've shown that they know how to pick first round players, especially linemen. So we'll give them a shot. Here in the second round, who are we looking at? This is way too early for Corum. Way too early. Ricky Pearsall is a pretty good receiver. He kind of fell in that. He's closer to like the Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors area on that graph I was talking about earlier as far as receptions and production. He's much closer to the top wide receivers in this class. I think it was probably Neighbors, Harrison, and Odunze up in the kind of top right, and then you go a little bit farther down, and I think the next one was Pearsall as far as wide receivers in this class. So that could be a good pick right here if there's nothing else we like. Edgerrin Cooper, I've been taking a lot right here. As I mentioned before, I think Edgerrin Cooper and Junior Colson, I'm not sure which one they'll like more. I think Cooper, I like Cooper. I know a lot of people kind of question not necessarily question, he's very athletic, high motor, but he can kind of run himself out of the play often. And Junior Colson was, kind of the leader of the national champion defense, one of the better defenses in the league. I'm not sure which one they like more because I don't know if the Cowboys have bad taste in their mouth from Michigan players or not. We show willingness to draft them. We drafted 2 Michigan players, rounds 1 and 2 last year. But I'm not sure if, they have a bad taste in their mouth from Taco and Mozzie didn't work out quite as fast as they wanted him to. And Schoonmaker, the tight end that we drafted out of Michigan last year, is kind of just fallen into a tight end 2 role. Didn't really perform very well last year. Obviously still a rookie, but... And again, this is what I think they'll do. Do I think they'll pick Ricky Pearsall? No. Do I want them to right here? Yes. I think we're looking at 2 of these running backs. And something just tells me that Colson is more of their pick, is more of their guy. And I'm going to go Colson. Even though I like Cooper. And I think we had both of these guys on top 30 visits. We've had a lot of visits with linebacker. They're really looking at linebacker. Running backs as well. But I don't know. I'm going to go with Colson here. We'll see what happens in real life. But either way, I wouldn't be too mad. We need a linebacker, so give one of those guys a shot. See what happens. Here in the third, let's see here. Bucky Irving, I think, is a pretty good running back. A lot of people like him. Cooper Beebe could be a good option. I don't know if he can play center. So Van Pran could be a good option here. I don't know if he's going to fall as far as he did in the other mock. I would have to guess not. We could just take a chance and hope that is... Let me see where they have Bordolini at. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter because this is our last round for PFF. This is our last round. What do we do here then? What do we do here? This is our last pick for the PFF. We only go 3 rounds on PFF. We got a tackle. We got a linebacker. We need running back. We need center. Could need wide receiver. Do we go Van Pran? And again, this is not what I'm picking necessarily. I don't know if they have any interest in a Braylon Allen or a Tavondre Sweat here. Sweat is very interesting. You might be able to have him a little bit later, but it's going to be risky. And we don't have a 4th right now. And so a lot of people are wondering if maybe we trade back out of our first round spot, especially if Guyton is the guy that we want. We can move back and probably still grab him. So, but we need some more picks because we don't have a 4th, and we need a lot of guys. And the more darts you can throw, the better the hit rate. So, what do I think they'll do here if this is how it falls? I think they might. Oh man, they might go running back. I feel like they think the need is much higher than it is. I'm scared they'll probably reach. I don't know if Bucky Irving's the guy though. I'm not gonna do it. They might do that. They might do that if it falls this way. I'm not gonna do it. We might have to go Van Pran here or Sweat. Jerry's not afraid to take a chance on a guy with off-the-field problems, and Tavondre Sweat had some off-the-field problems. He's a huge body. So him and if Mozzie Smith doesn't work out, at least these guys can rotate in with each other. Let's just go Tavondre Sweat. Let's do it. I think they'll be attracted to it. We need defensive line. This is a lot later. Taking defensive tackle in the first round last year was very surprising. Absolutely terrible grade on the draft. Absolutely terrible grade. PFF hates us. That's crazy. I didn't love it either. Like I said, I wouldn't go Guyton, but I could see the Cowboys going that way. Colson's a good pick. I'm not sure why it's getting such a low grade, probably because linebacker's been devalued. So don't agree with, and I don't agree with the D grade for Sweat in the 3rd. I think you could probably have him in the 4th, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to take him in the 3rd. He's not an elite athlete, but he's 350 pounds or something like that. You're not expecting some elite athlete, all world, Aaron Donald. You just need a guy to plug holes, and Tavondre Sweat's going to do that for you, and that's exactly what we need. So I don't agree with the grade, but it is what it is. And like I mentioned before, the Cowboys really need to hit on these. They really need to hit on these, and so I have faith in their first round pick abilities. They've proven time and time again that they know how to use their first round pick, but not as great of a hit rate in the second round, and so a little bit worrisome about that. And unfortunately, they've dug themselves in a hole where there's no choice but to make these picks work. There's no choice but to kind of launch these guys into a contributing role. They're going to have to start, and they're going to have to contribute in meaningful ways and meaningful snaps this year. Just because we didn't do anything, we let people go and we didn't replace them. So we'll see what happens. Super excited for the draft. Always, of course, excited to see what the Cowboys do, but the rest of the draft is going to be so interesting just to see where the quarterbacks go. And there's always trades and things that happen that you don't expect, that you don't see coming. So someone will grab a wide receiver or, some other position that, and it's a team that you never thought would make the pick, just comes completely out of left field. There will be a lot of that. Of course, there'll be a lot of teams taking guys that we expected them to take this whole time, like the Bears, obviously going Caleb Williams. But the draft is just so fun, especially if you're, really into football. And you start getting into the day 2 and day 3 guys. I mean, those are the day 2 and day 3 guys are some of the best players that you can find. I mean, you find a guy who, and that's really where the front office can shine too. You find a guy who maybe he has the tools but just didn't put it together in the field, or maybe he put it on the field but he played for a small school, and so you got to kind of weigh in, well, is it just the competition level, stuff like that. So really interesting stuff. Love the draft. As you can see on our feed, ton of draft content for you. Hopefully, I don't know if Cam's getting a Vikings mock out. So stay on the lookout for that. I'm not sure what we have scheduled for before the draft. Draft is Thursday. Coming up here, I think Caleb, I never call him Caleb. Gil and Cam will be in Detroit, I think, for that draft. So that'll be cool. Pay attention to the feed and see if we get some live reactions from those two at the draft. I'm sure Cam's reaction will be extremely hilarious if they go JJ. So be on the lookout for that. Until next time, we'll see what happens, but we need this draft, Cowboys fans. We need this draft. The front office has lost a lot of our faith over the last few months, last years, even. So they got to kind of renew some of our faith, and they got to knock this draft out of the park. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So those are my thoughts. That's what I would do in the draft. That's what I think the Cowboys will do. And until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.